G'day Darkrealmers, it's horror author and illustrator Michael J. Elliott here with you again today. And today I've got something a bit different. How do you pick a good book or movie? Okay? Hey, if this is your first trip to the Diaries, welcome. Thanks so much for joining us. And if you want a little help in finding the best in horror from books, movies, creepypasta and the like, then you've come to the right place. Hit that subscribe button and the bell notification and you'll always be on top. Okay, Darkrealmers, well, we're surrounded by entertainment, but how do we pick the best? Well, we're going to find out right now. Yeah! Well, Darkrealmers, today's subject was actually suggested to me by my friend, editor and fellow YouTuber Christie Stratos. And if you haven't checked out Christie's channel yet, you must do so, because she's got a wonderful YouTube channel for not only writers but readers as well. And Christie said to me, Mike, how can we make sure we pick a good movie or a good book? Well, that's a really tough question, but I'm really happy to actually, well, maybe give you some tips and tricks that will help you navigate the journey. Okay, now the one thing with entertainment is that it is a little bit different than other consumer goods. Hey, if you change your mind about, you pick the wrong colour toaster, you can take it back. But look, if you go to see a movie and you hate it, you can't ask for the money back, because that's it. Sorry, Hollywood's gotten the cash register chinking and you're out of luck. And it's the same with books. You can't buy a book, read it, and then say, I didn't like it, I want my money back, okay? Now, of course, if there's typographical errors and things like that, yes, you may have a chance of getting your money back. But in general, entertainment is one of those things we spend cash on that we have to be very careful, because we're using our discretionary income. In other words, money that's left over after we've paid all our bills and household expenses and living expenses. So there's a theory called economic scarcity, which says basically it doesn't matter how much money you have, you're always going to be looking for something and never having the money to buy it. So as you can see, finding the right books and movies is really important, especially with all of us, and we're all on budgets, okay? So what we're going to do first is look at books, because, well, hey, I'm an author, Christie's an author, okay, and a lot of you are readers. And yeah, so why not? So we're going to start looking at books. Well, Darkrealmers, authors have a window of around 10 to 20 seconds to try and get you to buy their book, okay? Because they're competing with thousands upon thousands of other books, not only in physical bookshops, but also on e-readers, okay? Now, the first thing, of course, is the cover. A good cover is going to want to make you learn more. And the only other way a reader has to decide whether they going to spend money on this book is the blurb, or the small description that basically tells the reader what the book is about. Now, there are some tips and some tricks that you can use to avoid certain books, okay? Now, because authors have that small window of opportunity, they're going to try and do anything they can to get your interest and your attention, okay? Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying authors are cheating or anything, but beware of certain blurbs, okay? Or, yeah, just be careful, okay? Now, if you come across a book, let's say it's a fantasy book, okay? A young adult fantasy book, and if the blurb says to you something along the lines of, if you loved Harry Potter, you'll love ... Beware, okay? Nobody has the right to say, if you loved Harry Potter, you'll love this. That's the reader's call. That's not up to the author to decide for you that you will love this book, because, hey, you might not want to. Also, it's a little bit like piggybacking off someone else's success. Okay, now I'm not saying that's wrong, okay, because authors need to do anything they can, and an author who uses a blurb like that is obviously, you know, loves their work and does feel that it's like Harry Potter or something similar, okay, but you need to be careful of that, because, you know, there's a lot of HP fans out there. JK Rowling has a huge following, and to compare yourself to that level of success as an author is a little bit, yeah, just be wary of it, okay. In similar terms, beware of blurbs that say in the manner of or in the style of, okay, because once again it's piggybacking off another author's success, okay. A good author can get you interested by the description of their characters or the setting or what you can expect, okay. Also too, be careful of blurbs that say what would you do in this situation, okay, because you're just reading a 10-second blurb. You might have a totally different reaction to what the author wants you to have, and that turns a lot of people off, okay. And I found that with certain books I was interested in too, Darkrealmers, that, you know, the author was trying to tempt me in by saying you need to read this and then what would you do, okay. Not going to fall for that, sorry Darkrealmers. Also beware of very general adjectives in blurbs, like a sweeping romance, okay. Well, sweeping, okay, does it mean it's, you know, swept out to sea? Does it mean it's, you know, Cinderella sweeping the floors? That sort of thing, okay. It's very, very hard for authors to be creative, and, you know, there are a lot of very good authors who are great at blurbs, and there's others who struggle, and I'm one of those, because I basically write short stories and it's hard to encapsulate just a brief amount of short story teaser in a blurb. Okay, so those are some of the things to avoid, okay. Now, another tip is when you're looking for something to read, don't be tempted to start a series, okay. Now, a lot of authors write series because they have a massive story arc that they want to tell, and it's simply too big to be contained in one book, and that's fair enough. And also, they may have already decided when they started writing this was going to be a series, okay. But for you as a reader, do you really want to invest your time in reading maybe a 200, 300, 400, 500 page book and then finding, nah, don't like that, not interested in the second one, okay, or the third one, or the fourth one, okay. Tip number 2 is see if you can find a standalone work by this author. Like I said, if it's a fantasy, see if they've written a single fantasy or maybe a prequel to the series. That will give you a sense of whether you're going to enjoy this author's style, their writing, their narrative, a whole range of things, okay. And it applies to any genre, okay. Romance, historical drama, urban fiction, anything, okay. Always go for the single title first, because that way you haven't wasted your time investing in a series that you know you're not going to finish or have no interest in finishing, okay. And you'll also find yourself with that sort of consumer mindset that, oh, I wasted my money on that, I wonder what happened in book 2, or maybe I should have stuck with it. You don't want that. Move on, okay. Another tip is always see whether your authors that you like have branched out, okay. Now, you may find that you have some favourite authors, or you have authors that you've loved their work and they're going in a new direction. Perhaps they're trying poetry, perhaps they're trying going from drama to science fiction, whatever, okay. it's always better to try and see if you can get a taste of whether you're going to like this author's new direction. Okay, see if they've got any short stories out. See, there may be something they have on, say, Wattpad or Scribbled or something like that, or even on their own website they may have short stories. And also in their newsletter you can often find authors will present a short story or access to a short story where you can try their new genre and see if you like it. Okay, well, they're just some tips on how to pick a good book. Now obviously life's not a guarantee. I can't guarantee that you will always get a good book. Look, I've gotten some turkeys, believe me, so and I'm an author, so it's not a foolproof method, but those are just some of the tips that will help you to find or be a bit more selective with your search. Okay, now on to movies. Well, Darkrealmers, books may have been around a lot longer than movies, but Hollywood has become the king of marketing, okay? And in today's age, we don't only have the trailers and the posters and so forth, we have the lead actors doing every talk show imaginable, we have internet podcasts, we have a whole range of things, but the one thing that still is probably the chief way Hollywood gets your bum onto that cinema seat is the movie trailer. Okay, now we're all pretty familiar, we're a little bit jaded as moviegoers, and we do know that, look, the trailer is never going to you know, sort of match the whole of the movie, and by and large we're pretty cool with that. Okay, but there are some things you can do to reduce your chances of paying good money to see a bad movie, or at least reduce the chances of you coming away disappointed, because you need to avoid certain things and certain things in trailers, or that are mentioned in trailers or on movie posters that you know, are designed to cash in on your knowledge of other movies. And the first thing I want to say is beware of movie trailers that say from the producer of, say, Conjuring or you know, The Omen or something like that. Now, with no disrespect at all intended to any producers watching, Darkrealmers, producers are the finance guys of the movie industry, okay? Their basic job is to secure a budget either from a studio or from backers or whatever to get that made, okay? They're in charge of doling out, yes, the director can have X hundreds of thousands for this location, he can have this and that. They really don't have a great deal to do with the creative side of the movie, okay? So just because a movie is financed or backed by one of the producers from a successful movie doesn't mean this movie that you're trying to maybe decide whether you're going to watch it or not is going to be any good. Now, one of the classic examples I saw of this was on a trailer that said, from one of the directors of Paranormal Activity. Wow, okay, that wasn't a selling point for me, that was actually a low point. Why didn't the other two producers get involved? Did they think it was a bit of a turkey, or did this producer want to go out on his own? Okay. Another thing to avoid, just like the book blurbs, is a stunning visual spectacular treat. Okay, words along those lines. Now, we all know that trailers give us the most intense parts of the movie encapsulated in a small form, and that's basically because they're the highlights, they're the things that are going to make you interested. Okay, But look, there's going to be a lot of dialogue, there's going to be a lot of scenes in between those bits that you see, okay? Now, I know of people that have gone to a movie and the whole scenes that from the trailer didn't happen till right at the end of the movie, or so far into the movie that they basically lost interest. Be aware of that. Also too, you need to be aware of ratings on movie posters and so forth. Now, yes, critics are good, you know, they play a part, but there's a thing we know from marketing, and it's called levels of perception. Okay, now if I love a movie and I rant about it and I rave about it, that doesn't mean you're going to like it. Well, does that mean I'm wrong or you're wrong? Neither. It's because of the way we see the world. We all have our own different experiences. We have our both brought up differently, different cultural icons. All those sort of things go into shape who you are and what you like and what you want to see and read and so forth, okay? So just because a critic has said the most spectacular movie I have ever seen doesn't mean you're going to feel the same way, Darkrealmers, okay? So beware of that. And also, just think for a moment, okay, if the movie, if that's on a poster for a new release movie, then there's not a lot of feedback, okay, already from movie audiences because the movie's just come out. So for you know, a critic who's probably been given the privilege of an exclusive preview, it doesn't really hold a lot of weight, okay? Another thing to be careful of too is, you know, just as I mentioned, you know, from the producer of, you know, be careful of, you know, from the director of, okay? Now, directors are the people who give the movie the feel. They're the ones who set up the shots, they're the ones who, you know when to cut, know when to pull out, all those sort of things, okay? But like everything in life, not every director hits gold every time. If that was a certainty, then no one would make flops. There'd be no Hollywood flops, there'd be no books that didn't make the bestseller list. Everything in life would be guaranteed. Now, we all pretty much agree Steven Spielberg is an amazing director, but believe it or not, he's made some turkeys as well, okay? And an example of that was his version of War of the Worlds with Tom Cruise, okay? Now, when he came to Australia with Tom Cruise to promote the movie, the interviewer said, did it bother you that, you know, you were basically tampering with a classic movie from the 50s? And Steven Spielberg says, no, you know, there's always room for interpretation, there's always room, you know, who knows, this may be, and I'm paraphrasing here, you know, a new classic. Well, it didn't happen. The movie was awful, and once again we had Tom Cruise, you know, single-handedly saving the world instead of, you know, Gene Barry in the 50s version, with a group of people, all that sort of thing. And remember how they buggered up totally, you know, The Day the Earth Stood Still with Keanu Reeves, okay? So just be careful when you see on a poster or the trailer that says directed by, okay? Because there's no guarantees, Darkrealmers, okay? Also, in some ways that applies to the movie stars as well, okay? Now, movie stars, obviously the scripts, they get sent hundreds and hundreds of scripts, and it's up to their agents and so forth to sort of vet what comes through, what they think would be good for them as an actor, okay, or what they could bring to the role. Now, obviously the movie makers want a top line actor because big names sell tickets, and that's fine. That's what Hollywood does. We all love seeing our favourite actors in certain things. But ask yourself, okay, has this actor that they're trying to promote ever appeared in that sort of genre of movie before? Okay, do they have experience? Now, being an actor, okay, is wonderful, of course, but every actor brings certain strengths and characters to their roles, okay? Now, you'll find that some actors like Sir Ian McKellen prefers working on stage. That's where his forte is, that's where he feels comfortable and so forth. And it's the same with Hollywood actors, okay? Now, I really, you know, if I saw an actor from, say, going back a few years, Beverly Hills 90210, doing Macbeth or Shakespeare of any kind in a movie, I don't think I'd be impressed, okay? So be careful of that with the actors, okay? It may be your favourite actor, but has this actor done this genre before? Do these actors have the characteristics or the acting presence to carry off, say, a western, a science fiction, a romance? Look, there's some actors who just can't be leading men, basically because of their either their physical looks or their personality or the association we have with them as actors, and the same applies with actresses, okay? We have certain mindsets, we have certain ways we view different actors and actresses, okay? So it's always a good idea to err on the side of judgment, okay, when the actor is being promoted as in a variety of film that they've never done before. And my advice there would be, wait till a few other people have gone and seen it, and don't ask them about the movie themselves. Ask them, how was Nicole Kidman? How was Arnold Schwarzenegger? What did you enjoy their performances? That will give you a bit more of a sort of help in deciding whether you want to go see it or not, Darkrealmers, okay? Well, look, that's about it for my how to choose a good book or movie. Okay, now obviously, as I said, it's not an infallible process. I'm just giving you the tips and tricks that I've picked up, not only as an author and a reader, but also someone who's been involved in media, studying it at college and secondary school, and also having undertaken film criticism. All those sort of things have combined to give, and I've learned a few things over the years. So I hope that's helped you in some way, okay? Now, I'd be really interested, Darkrealmers, in the comments below, let me know, have you fallen for a book blurb and then been really disappointed? Okay, you don't need to mention the book if you want to save the author embarrassment. And what about movies? Have you been, as we say here in Australia, sucked in to watching a movie or paying for a good movie and then being so disappointed you were ropeable? Okay, I know I have, but I don't have time to go into all of them here. Alright, that's it from me, Darkrealmers, horror author and illustrator Michael J. Elliott. And as I always say at the end of the videos, look, if you're going to read a book blurb or watch a movie trailer, don't do it so much alone and in the dark. Make sure you stay in the light. Bye for now.